Mine would be pizza with pineapple on it.
All right, well, I guess that concludes the end of the raised eyebrow.
And they split up.
Wars have been fought over that.
Or like anchovies on pizza.
Anchovies are disgusting. That's just... It's just like dry
So you wouldn't eat it
salt.
on pizza?
Yeah.
With fish flavor.
Yeah, just fish flavored dry salt. Like, why do you hate yourself?
Greetings and fist bumps. This is the Raised Eyebrow Podcast, where we discuss how people just peopling can make it weird to be a person sometimes. We are your hosts, Kojo, Alex, and Mike, and in this episode, we discuss the fine line between culture and cults. So we all know what a cult is, or at least we think we do. Sure, that weird Satan-worshipping group is probably a cult, but do we ever come across a group of fanatics who aren't a cult, but they definitely give off culty vibes? So where's the fine line? Why are humans so drawn to cults or cult-like institutions? Why are we so drawn to charismatic people? Is this podcast a secret audio cult? Of course not, but possibly for one of our more impressionable listeners. Okay, I'm rambling now. Let's get things started.
Oh, it's totally a cult. This is totally a cult. I'm not the charismatic.
We want more
people.
followers.
Yeah, we need more followers.
Yeah, all 12 of our followers are they're passionate.
Yeah.
You got to be passionate.
Oh,
to
for
listen
sure.
to us stories.
Yeah. All 12 of them.
Yeah, but there's 12 guys, right?
Of how pessimistic
Yep.
we are in that number. Like, yeah, it's 12.
Yeah, you have to start from the 1 and then move to 2. You can't go from 2 to 3. 5. Like, it has to follow.
Yeah.
Right.
You aim for the moon, you'll land among the stars.
Yes.
It's so on and so forth.
Isn't that
Yeah,
what your
inspirational,
second grade teacher tells you? So,
Yeah. It's motivation.
don't worry, little Mikey. You can still be whatever you want to be. You'll never fail.
I want to be president.
You'll be president of something.
So cults.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So what are some examples of things that aren't cults, but they definitely have cult-like behavior or cult-like, actions among the people that follow them? Anything come up off the top of your heads?
CrossFit.
Definitely CrossFit. Anything that's like a sports activity where people are overly enthusiastic in a creepy way. So I've tried CrossFit, I've tried SoulCycle, I did a lot of yoga in my day, and it's like, so with CrossFit, there's always 1 or 2 people that come up to you with like big wide eyes and they're like, yeah, how do you feel? Is it a good workout? I started here 15 years ago and my back hurt and it healed me. And they're just like overly excited to tell you how much that workout and this group of exercisers, is that a word? Exercisers, are overly passionate about what you just did from a workout perspective.
Do they prescribe like foods that you should eat?
Yoga is one of those things. Like there's different studios where they're obviously there's a heavy vegan, I guess, subculture among yogis. And so like yoga is interesting because every studio, every gym, whatever you want to call it, is different. Like they have their own community. Some of them are really creepy where it's like, it's clearly a group of Westerners who are, going very Eastern philosophy on you, pseudoscience. Like, if you just, when you hold your ohms, you got to hold your thumb in a 40-degree angle on your palm, and it's just like
And your savasanas.
Yes, it's all about the savasanas in yoga. There's some creepiness there, right? There's t-shirts. There's always some capitalistic perspective. Give us your money, and then you could be extra part of our group. Yeah, SoulCycle is a weird one. Like you'll start chanting during the workout.
Oh wow! What kind of chants do they do?
It's like, my energy is pure. My energy is pure. And they're just like sweating. Some girl started crying once. I'm like, what is happening? I'm just pedaling away. Like, I'm just here for a workout, bro.
Yeah, like that's...
Like, I get it. Like, there's, I don't know. Like, some people need that community to get that extra push. I think that's what it is. And there's always like a charismatic instructor. Not always, but the ones that are more culty have that charismatic instructor where he's leading the chants or the affirmations or whatever the heck you want to call it. And it gets weird, man. It gets weird.
Wow.
So that's workouts.
Yeah, I find it like usually the names that they have are very interesting. Like, you know, the terms that they use, like even
A coffee company.
all the names are like, you know, very foreign, and you're like grande, latte, all these names makes it very like, you know, interesting.
We're not in Italy here.
Yeah.
It's a coffee shop.
Well, also like
This is Michigan.
tall, grande, and venti all mean large, basically. So it's large, large, and large. That's the order.
It sounds cool.
Grande means large.
Yeah. You feel sophisticated when
Right.
you say large in
Like,
different,
oh.
3 different
Right.
ways in a Latin accent.
Well,
And
it's
I
that
think
one-
it also creates that environment where it's like you're in a clique. You understand what that word means. Your
Yeah.
friend doesn't.
Yeah, that's why they did it,
Yeah.
right? Because it makes
Make
it
it a
feel like exactly. You're part of something kind of like this coded language. You know, you go to
you always take someone
a coffee company.
for the first time and they accidentally say, "Can I get a medium?" And they're like, "No. It's grande."
You're going to hell.
Okay, fine.
And that person's just
whatever.
like, oh, "Okay, psycho."
You don't belong here. Where you from?
The thing that annoyed me is
Yeah.
like when a popular fast food chain changed all their sizes, the medium became what the large was. Like everything kind of moved up, basically, so everything got bigger.
Right.
So you order like a medium and then you get like a large, and you just really wanted a medium, you know? So like I just got into the habit of be like, you know, kind of getting a medium based on like what it was 5 years ago, like whatever that was, like that version of the medium, you know? You feel like an idiot ordering, but it's like you just keep changing shit. Like just that one. That's the one that I want. So just point, you know?
Stick to your sizes.
Yeah.
Stick to your sizes.
Yeah, start ordering beverages the same way you order stuff in foreign countries. Just point,
Yeah.
show you how many fingers, show me how many number you want. 2, this one.
Even
A coffee company.
here in Canada, apparently the amount of liquid in a small compared to a medium is like it's nothing. It's like negligible.
Yeah.
But 50 more cents or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah. Anyways, cults. The sports ones where it's like this like euphoric kind of thing, like Soul Cycle and CrossFit. You could argue like even like runners and triathletes and cyclists are cult like,
Yep.
which I am a part of.
I mean, you brought me in.
Yeah, no, I've
exactly.
converted
You
so
recruited
many
both of
people.
us.
Yeah, like I've converted both.
Like, you
of
just
running.
approached me and you were like,
Yeah,
yo, I've been going to this church. It's going to change your life, Mike.
I'm the cult leader.
You want to run 10 kilometers this weekend? Like, no. Why would I want to do that?
It'll open
I
your
promise
mind, man.
you will want to do this. 6 months later, I'm training for a marathon. What happened? How did we get here?
You want to just run for 4 hours and just be alone with nothing but your thoughts?
Like on the weekend?
On a
Or-
weekend, yeah.
Yeah. We'll start at 6
And
a.m.
then spend the rest of your day
All right.
recovering. But
How do I sign up for this?
yeah, running is
And there's events where you pay money.
pay money to do something that you could just easily do outside your
Right.
house. But for some reason, there's
I got all the
value.
medals,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's all about those medals.
The participation medal.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a fine line, right? That's what this episode's about. Where is that line?
Where is the line? It's I don't know where it is actually. Because like I think that like with cults, it's like we are drawn to community, like as like we're a social creature and we're drawn to communities. We're drawn to charismatic people because that's just how we are. Like like every mammal species that is a group species. Like if you look at our cousins, the apes, orangutans, chimpanzees, gorillas, you know, there's always like an alpha. There's always like someone that kind of projects what the ideal version of that ape is, right? And I guess cult leaders is maybe that for us. Is that the reason why we gravitate towards them? Or at least they perceive themselves to be that way?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
question.
I mean, I think usually they tell us a story, and either we believe in the story or not. We tend to, I mean, they sell it so well that we're like, oh, I want to try that.
Yeah. And you see people, I think, who are, within that community who they provide enough evidence where it's like, okay, this person changed. Like they seem happier, they seem healthier, whatever it is, right? Their mood's different and they're enthusiastic. Like you said, Kojo, when they tell you the story, so it's like, all right, I had a bad week. Maybe I should try this.
Yeah, which is like usually they go for the weak people. Like, you had a bad week, something happened to you, like always something, like, any little flaw they can see from you, that's where they push.
Yeah.
It is fascinating.
Dark energies.
Yeah.
Because they do go for like your vulnerabilities, right? And it's how
whatever
it is that they're selling, you can kind of, this will magically cure whatever it is, or they're a prophet of some religion, or they're the second coming, a god. Those are always my favorite to kind of like learn about how, like, the question that I have is like, when you, okay, so like, do these people like actually sit down and say, I want to start a cult, and then they actually like map out how they're going to manipulate people, or do they like actually think that they're God and they just so they're completely delusional about it? Like, how does this work?
I think they're a group of, they're different kinds of people. There's the ones who actually one day just wake up and they just want to do something good for other people, and their way of doing it ends up becoming, I think sometimes it's not them making themselves into a god, it's the people around them that make them into a god. Like, it's like how we treat celebrities, for instance. It's like a simple guy, and then the next day they're like, oh, we're gonna give you a limo, and all of a sudden it gets into your head, and you start acting.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
Deify normal people with some type of talent.
Yeah. So there are people who start these cults as they want to help society, eat healthy, be good people.
Yeah.
And then
what about Charles Manson? That's the other side of it.
Right.
The sociopath, the psychopath, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
With like clear mental health.
Yeah, because it always starts with them seeing something or something happening to them, and then they're like, oh, life has to be led like this. Like, there was this guy who said he saw an alien, and the alien told him all these things and how they should save mankind and blah blah blah. So then he started a cult.
How do I sign up for this?
Yeah.
Is there a list?
Kind of, what was he smoking?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Charles Manson, didn't they do like crazy drugs in like the middle of nowhere in California? Was it?
Yeah, probably.
Not too familiar with the Charles Manson story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys know any famous cults other than Charles Manson?
I do. In university, there was one of my friend who needed a ride, and I ended up giving her a ride to after school. And she was telling me, "Oh yeah, I live in a compound."
Oh wow!
So they grow their own crops, everything, and I think they even helped her to go to university. Yeah, It's interesting.
So it's like a hippie compound.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You could look at religions as cults too. There's a famous joke from Joe Rogan. I pulled it up here. Shout out to Joe Rogan, the godfather of podcasts. So his explanation of the difference between cults and religions. He says, a cult is bullshit. It's created by one person. That person knows it's bullshit. In a religion, that person is dead. Oh man, so good. I can say bullshit on this podcast, right?
You have my permission.
Yes, I can sleep tonight.
Time for a quick commercial break. We're excited to introduce to you the latest fitness trend sweeping the nation.
Walking.
That's right. It's more than just a way to move around your house. It's exercise too.
You can walk around the block or 5, walk to the park, walk to get the mail. Plus, you can even walk a dog.
Preferably your own.
And if you're thinking, gee, this walking thing is kind of boring, try listening to your favorite podcast, as well as your 8th favorite, the Raised Eyebrow podcast.
Oh, don't forget the performance package.
Right. For a limited time, upgrade your walking to the performance package. Running.
It's like walking, but faster.
So get outside, folks, and get those steps in. And if you're walking right now, How meta is that?
Okay, now let's get back to our show.
Yeah, what were you looking up, Alex?
Well, there's a lot. Like probably one of the most famous ones in the U.S. I guess the two are Jonestown,
Oh yeah,
where
Jim Jones.
yeah, that's where the mass suicide took place, right? Like the whole Kool-Aid thing, drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, I mean that like I've watched like so many different documentaries on that, like where they took all the footage that because there's a bunch of journalists who went there to kind of look at what was happening because one of the Congress people kind of got a lot of these letters from these people's families where the Church of Jones or whatever it was in the U.S. and they had to like they moved down there because they're trying to like flee all this backlash in the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this congressperson went down and a bunch of reporters like with cameras to kind of just film what happens, right? That's when like the shit hit the fan basically.
Mm.
And yeah, a lot of people ended up killing themselves and with the Kool-Aid, and they fed it to the kids first, which is crazy because like can you imagine being like one of the last people and like you're seeing everybody else die around you and
Right.
from this drink and you're gonna drink it, like how there must have been like there has to be like some mass manipulation going on and like how
Yeah.
which is always fascinating to me, like how people can be so can their worldview could be so distorted by someone else's input and influence that they actually see this as being like this is the outcome, this is what you're gonna do.
Yeah. I mean, like usually in those environments, they tell you, oh, if you do this, this will happen to you.
Yeah.
And because you're scared
Right.
of, something happening to you, you wouldn't, do that.
Yeah.
So some people would leave the community, and then, like, if you wear short skirts, the, angels would attack you or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And then they wear short skirts and nothing happens. Or they drink alcohol and nothing happens.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh.
So I looked up what
Get out of this.
the definition of a cult is. This is from a guy named Dr. Steve Eichel. So a cult, a group or movement exhibiting great or excessive devotion or dedication to some person, idea, or thing, and employing unethical, manipulative, coercive techniques of persuasion and control, such as isolation from former friends, family, debilitation, the use of special methods to heighten suggestibility and subversiveness, powerful group pressures, information management, the suppression of individuality or critical judgment, and the promotion of total dependency on the group and fear of leaving it, which is to your point. And this is all designed to advance the goals of the group's leaders, whatever that goal may be, to the actual possible detriment of the members, their families, and the community. So that's kind of how he defined what a cult is. Like it's destructive to the members of it. Like there never is a positive outcome in a cult, right? And I guess like is that the line between CrossFit and actual cults? Like is it that it seems cult like where you're pressured to be in it and you have to like show up all the time and do the work all the time, but the difference is that it's more about positivity. Actually you get a positive benefit from it, whereas a cult you get a negative benefit. Is that the difference between it?
There's this lady who said her husband left and the only support she could get was from the cult. And the cult, like they would send, family friends would send child services over, and the cult would protect these kids. Tell your kids to tell the child service people that my mom said I should not, speak to strangers or whatever. Like,
Wow.
if they ask me a question, I should say no. My mom said I shouldn't say anything. So it creates some kind of like family protection in a way, support.
And you begin to trust the members of the cult, quote unquote. Yeah, I guess like the peak negativity is with like the Jim Jones and the Charles Manson of the world, where you drink something and they poison your mind, they tell you you're going to heaven or hell or whatever.
Right.
Well, like you were saying, like the positive cults, you do get something out of it. There is a community. Like there's always a goal that kind of keeps the cult in line, right? So it's that Soul Cycle workout. It's the Starbucks gift card. It's, you get 50 points if you just buy 3 more coffees.
And you know what? With the Starbucks thing, like, so every purchase you get a point, and then they force you to use the point, even if you don't feel like using the points, and then they'll tell you it expires at. I actually have to check mine because mine expires soon.
It's a
You're part
prophecy.
of the cult.
Also, we have to add a disclaimer here so we don't get sued by Starbucks.
Actually,
We're not against drinking Starbucks or joining Starbucks.
We all drink Starbucks.
We're just
here,
saying
actually.
that some people just act culty when they're around Starbucks stuff. That's it. Please don't sue us. On that note, I found a BuzzFeed article on some things that are not a cult, but they have cult-like behavior. So, and this is as written from people who are in that quote-unquote cult-like atmosphere. So I'll read a couple. Let me know if anything is exciting to you guys. So the Boy Scouts of America, one person says, there's an honor society within the Boy Scouts of America called the Order of the Arrow. The name sounds like a cult. And, Disney worship. As much as I like some of their stuff, I can't fathom why people get so rabid defending them. To me, they're just a corporation that makes entertainment. But to others, it's a way of life. The same goes for their work culture in the theme parks. Never worked there myself, but from the friends that I have chatted with that have, they talk about the whole experience as some bizarre fever dream of constantly having to smile and being forced to sing songs during meetings. Also, you can't shatter the illusion that it's the happiest place on earth while you work there. So that's a little weird. Right. Disney's an interesting one. Jump in here on that one. Also, Apple's weird. Apple versus Android. Like people are so. This goes back to like tribalism, things like that we talked about on different episodes.
I mean, Apple is a religion at this point.
Yeah. Right. Different tech cults.
Like it's
pick your brand. Don't challenge me.
I call it a religion in the sense that most religions you're born, like it's like you don't pick. You're just born into it in a way. Like your parents went.
It's like soccer teams.
Yeah, like your parents are Chelsea fans, so then you're also Chelsea fan.
You're born into a
and
Mac
Apple
house.
is like one of them.
Yeah.
You're born into Apple.
Yeah, like I mean, I think for me, university, you start using Apple, so then you're basically Apple.
Yeah.
And you're a designer too. I think.
Right.
I think designers are. They're screwed.
I mean, there's some
Apple.
designers who use Windows and they love Windows.
Really?
I tend to be on the other side. Like,
I stand
That makes
corrected.
no sense. Like,
why do
you hate
Apple
yourself?
better for design
Like,
stuff? Is that a cult? Are non-Apple designers cults?
I've been using
It probably
Apple
is a cult.
for like probably how long I've been using Apple? Like 14 years basically. And I was at one company and my Mac stopped working, so I had to use a PC for a while. And I was just like completely lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where anything was. I had to like Google stuff. I'm like, where are my folders kept? Like I'd like Google it. It's in Microsoft Explorer. Like, oh, okay, that thing. Okay. And then it like, where's that? Like, where is all this stuff located? Like looking around, like where is all this stuff? Like, I was just so lost. And it just everything was just different. It was like this bizarro world. Like I would do like my fingers would just naturally do like Command V, Command then, Command then. And it would never work. It would break every time. It would just do weird things because I'm just naturally programmed to be a Mac person.
I think Windows people feel the same when they use a Mac.
Probably,
too.
yeah. It's almost like it's a way of life, right? Like
right.
Yep. I've used both. I'm one of those weirdos that I know, right?
With the Mac world, which is they call it the ecosystem, it's so amazing. I mean, I'm sure Samsung has it too, and
you sound culty right now.
Yes.
yeah, like Android, and and I'm recruiting people right now because
How do I sign up? Okay, so ecosystem.
Yeah, like everything is seamless. Like, you know, you
It
come
is,
home,
yeah.
everything is connected.
Yeah.
You
Like
don't
when I
have
got
to,
a new
like, you know-
iPhone. When I got a new iPhone, like you just sign in under your Apple ID and it just downloads everything you had on your previous phone. You don't have to change a thing. You just sign into your account.
Yeah.
You don't have to re-download anything.
Yeah.
Just as if it was like it was so great, but it was like at the same time it was like the most underwhelming new phone purchase I ever had because like I'm just sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's just the same as the other one I just had, just faster and bigger and better, but it's just the same, you know. I'm like, okay, then just went on with my life. Like it was just,
Yeah.
I just changed size of phone.
Yeah.
My hand shape different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little faster maybe.
I
Yeah.
came across an article that says, so, I mean, can we say this? Anyway, we're going to say it anyway. Tim had to address, like, you know, investors and tell them how they're losing money because people are not buying newer products. So they end up, like, you know,
Oh, Tim Cook.
killing the batteries. So, you know, people will buy more phones.
Right.
Yeah.
That actually happened.
Yeah.
The tactics.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, that's
It's not a conspiracy.
yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those cult stuff where you sign up for the program, the first package, you pay an arm and a leg, and then you're done, and then you're like, well, I tried it, I don't think I can do this, and then the guru comes and it's like, so, you know, what do you think? Like, I feel like I'm not gonna do this anymore. And they're like, and then they say a quote from their scriptures, and then you're like,
It sounds like
oh
my
my God.
CrossFit experience.
exactly.
Yeah. When you try to
We do
quit.
have a promotion for 50% off if you take
You know,
3 more classes.
when you're signing off from an account, like you download like Spotify and then you're like, I don't want to use it anymore. And then they go, are you sure you want to like terminate your service with us?
Oh yeah, it's a whole process. Yeah, and you have. I used to go to this one gym, and I had like to join the gym, you could just do it online. It's so easy to join, but to leave the gym, you have to have like an in-person thing. And like, why do I need an in-person thing?
Oh, yeah.
So
I've had that.
I went there to quit, and they're like, oh, well, we only do this during like these hours. I'm like, I work during those hours. Like, I'm not going to take time off to come in here and tell you that I don't want your business. Meanwhile, they're like signing up 5 other people around me. So I just sent the manager like an email. I'm like, this is stupid. I quit. I don't want your gym anymore. You know, this email is a record for that. I don't know why you need to tell you in person when email would suffice. And he's like,
Yep.
okay. Like, what are you gonna say to
Try
that,
to
right?
convince
Like,
you.
why do I need to tell it to your face so that you can come back with a sales pitch?
Your gym assessment after like some promotion.
Yeah,
Like, I don't need an assessment. I'm good.
Yeah.
I wanted the free stuff.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
I'm not signing up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or they give you like, oh, bring a friend and you can like, you know, for free pass, and then the whole time they're just trying to like pitch them. It's like, no, like there's nothing in the fine print where you're gonna sit there and like pitch to my friend the whole time we're at the gym.
We're just here to work out and go home.
Exactly.
Go away.
Yeah. If people wanted to join your gym, they would join your gym.
Okay, so other things that are not cults but seem culty. Corporate culture, where certain corporations have a weekly discussion about the latest book that the big boss man CEO has on,
Oh
on
man.
Amazon. And everyone has to be indoctrinated to use buzzwords around the corporate table and in every email.
That's a cult.
see that,
Yeah. I hate it when companies
Yep.
they try to impose like these cult-like things, and it's like, oh, we're gonna do this, and it's more about like,
Yep. You get like internal lingo.
I can't even think of any of it because I've
can't-
blocked it all out of my mind. Like I've
Yeah,
just
'cause it's all
repressed
just nonsense,
all of
right?
that. You go into these meetings and they're like really excited about it, but you can just tell that they just hate being there, and they're just like,
Yep.
and then the entire staff is just like, I have a bunch of work that I need to do, and I'm now going to be incredibly busy as a result of this, and they're all annoyed and mad about it. It's just, it's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's also a way to like just impress the leaders so that you get like,
Yep.
you know, high promotions and stuff. Which
Oh, yeah.
You work your way up
you
up the corporate ladder.
you also see that in the cult world where it's like they're trying to please the gods and whoever in charge, that they,
Yeah.
they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Or you start at a new place and they're using like all these acronyms. It's like, I just started. just talk normal.
I mean, I think a lot of these things also fall within that cult. It's like we're trying to make things better, which,
Right.
The cult thing is like, your life would be so much better if you buy this, if you do this.
Yeah.
And so,
Try this cream. Yeah, but no, I think this one's more around like, the pseudoscience of, buy this gemstone and your energy will feel much happier on Thursday at 4 p.m. Try this cream and your face will be younger.
It's a placebo though, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What else? Marching band. So if you know people who have been in a marching band, they never come out the same. That's it. People who are in sales and they sell a product, like it's a very like military sports mentality where it's all just full steam ahead and sell that thing that you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Instagram travel influencers. Ooh, this is we talked about this in our narcissism episode, but they all travel together, post the same photos from different angles, and review bomb companies that don't give them free trips. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, even the Instagram group is also a cult in itself. Because,
Yeah.
Are influencers cult-like figures? I'd argue yes.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah.
Like
It
if
depends on how they do their
if some makeup, if some makeup influencer has a couple of million followers, is it really that important to worship them? I don't know. What do I know?
I mean, you see your friend and they're doing well, and you're like, wait, what is she doing?
Right.
Yeah. And you find out.
I'm following this person.
You find out they're an influencer,
right,
and they're getting paid to just review products. So then you also get in. But then like the negative side is when people feel what is it called? There's like a term for it where every day they need to post, so then they get tired from posting.
like a post fatigue.
Yeah, post something like that.
We don't post every day.
Alex? No.
There's three
It's
of
not a
us.
thing.
No.
Too old for this shit.
Yeah, really.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
I was having a
any
conversation with my sister's friends, and we're talking about our phones. And I looked at my phone, and I'd used my phone for the whole day. It was 2 hours, and
Wow.
their phones was like 9 hours, 7 hours.
What? Like,
That's crazy.
how do you? Is that their job?
It's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like mine's like 2 hours
I should
max,
check how many
and I think
hours.
I'm on it.
Like
too
mine,
much.
I checked mine right now, and it was an hour.
Yeah, let's see what mine's at.
Damn.
All right.
What time of the day do you guys usually check your phone? Do you check it when you wake up?
I don't. I
not
only
really,
if
no.
I do, I'm
I do
checking
it
the time.
sometimes. Okay. That's a habit I'm mindful of because I went through a phase where I would wake up in the morning and check my phone. I would just like hop on Instagram or check the news, and it's like 8 a.m. and I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, let me just like defog my brain.
Right.
Let me brush my teeth. They say apparently like that puts your brain in a state of like it's almost like it's zombied out, like the waves that are responsible for waking up and easing into your day, they get drowned out by this like numbing scrolling thing where you're just looking for like to not be bored when you wake up, but you don't need to not be bored when you wake up. You need to be present. Right? So
There's this.
found that interesting.
There's this one neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman. He's a PhD.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah,
He's dope. Love that guy.
and he was talking about just kind of building on what you're saying. And ever since I listened to this, like I started doing it myself. Like he said that so when you wake up, you kind of need to expose yourself to light. So
Yes.
head outside, go for a walk. You can bring your coffee with you. What I do is I just started bringing my headphones, and I would listen to a podcast or to audiobook or whatnot. And I just 10-20 minutes just walking around, listening to stuff. And what the light does is that it kind of like wakes your brain up. It kind of tells you that like the day has kind of started. And essentially what waking up is in terms of your body is that it starts to warm up your body, right? And that's how your body knows that it's awake. And then like throughout the day, like also kind of expose yourself to light. Because if you're inside a lot and working from home, which all three of us do, it's very like you don't have real light. Like it's all artificial light. It's not real light. Like you need certain colors of light, and only the sun can produce those colors. And you need to expose yourself to light. You can't do it for the artificial way. You have to get like certain light bulbs to do that. But he was like, one example he give is like he was comparing like two people, and like one person who actually like exposes themselves to light and like walks outside and sees that kind of stuff actually has like better cognitive functions. And whereas like somebody who doesn't, even if they live in like say San Diego or California where it's like summer all year round, they could be experiencing essentially winter, but even though it's like the middle of summer for them. Highly recommend like listening to his stuff if you can find him being interviewed by people.
He's great.
The one that I heard him on was the Jocko podcast. It was like a 5-hour interview. So they put out the full scoop.
Damn.
There you go. Yeah. Andrew Hupperman.
Yeah. I've heard him on Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
It sounds like a
I
cult
think he
to me.
says...
Taking
Just look at the
walks
sun.
and seeing
What
the
is
sun, going outside. Going
I think
outside
he
is
says,
cold.
I think he says you could actually look directly at the sun.
Oh
something
no!
to-
Don't do
like,
that.
as you wake up. Like it's okay to stare into the sun, like wear shades, whatever, but it's good for you. Anyway, it does sound kind of culty.
I actually,
as
I actually
think
did
about
that this week. Sat
You went
in the-
outside?
laid in the sun with my glasses on, and just
Just chilled out.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll sign up for that cult, Mike. I mean, Kojo.
Like I have
You have
since
to
I started.
walk.
Yeah.
You have
Go
to
ahead.
walk around in bare bare feet. It's part of the activity.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, that whole barefoot
I'm
thing.
selling
like,
you a cult.
Well, the whole barefoot walk. I thought you were because like barefoot walking is like this whole thing, like where
That's the thing.
people don't wear
It's
shoes.
called
they,
grounding.
grounding. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You want to put your feet on grass so you're close to the earth, and the energy of the earth, whatever that
Shoots
is.
through your body.
Yeah, apparently that's how we evolved. But I'm sure there's something to it, but the way people tell you about it is the way I just did, and you just kind of shake your head like dude, what are you saying? You know. But I think there's something to it. It's just got to be articulated better than what I just said. So it doesn't sound culty.
Yeah.
Alex, can you do better?
No, I mean like my association with it comes a lot from like running. Like people run barefoot.
Right.
But I mean, like in a city, like there's a lot of like I've seen a lot of stuff on sidewalks and roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not safe.
Sounds treacherous.
You know,
Yeah.
like
I think it's better if it's on grass or in the sand,
Yeah.
like on the beach.
presumably, but
Even
it's
I've
easier
done
to
it
be
on
hidden.
treadmills.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've done it on beaches too.
Yeah.
That's how I got into running before Alex recruited me to the cult.
Yeah.
Just on vacation running on a beach. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
Long
Maybe I should
walks,
take
long
up-
runs on the beach.
That's it. Long runs on short beaches.
Well, you get like a runner's high from it, like that endorphin rush you get from running.
That's
really,
real.
any exercise. I find running really brings it out, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that accomplishment of doing something harder
Yeah.
Yeah.
physically.
yeah, like you did that distance. Like it's, you know, it kind of makes like you, like the way like when I talk to people, I'd be like, oh, it's only like 5 kilometers away, and they'd be like, oh, that's so far. We should take the car. 5K, like what? It's not far at all. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like your perception
It's
of
all perception.
distance completely changes with stuff, right?
Right.
Like I ride my bike a lot too. I do a lot of cycling, and I would look at something and it's like 23 kilometers away biking. I'm like, oh, I could bike that. It's no problem. Like
Right.
it's just 23 kilometers. But it's like on the like we live in Toronto. It'd be like it'd be from the south end all the way to the north end of Toronto. It's like 23 kilometers, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the irony is that sometimes it takes the same amount of time to ride your bike somewhere in a city as it does to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you get free parking.
Sold.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's funny with these types of like the sports stuff, these communities, you always end up like getting into the products associated with
Right.
them. So
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So like with running, I'd look at shoes. Like when I first started, like I did a half marathon in like pretty dinky shoes, but you know you get a little injury and you're like, oh, how can I make this better? Oh, the shoes, like what's my foot stride like? What's the gait as they call it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, supinated versus pronated. And then you start to research like the different products. Is it Nike? Is it so and so? So there's, and like Alex, you just said, like with bikes, I'm sure there's a whole subculture of products that you know I've heard you talk about. So there's a whole product ecosystem with everything, right? Like with Apple, just with the exercise.
Yeah, with any passionate group of, like with cycling, you have like people who only ride fixie, which is there's no gears, right? You have people who they're only road cyclists or mountain bikers or gravel bikers, and yeah, they all kind of like look at each other weird, but secretly they have all those bikes in their garage too, you know. I know I do anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, there's some benefits, but I kind of feel like a lot of these sports were designed around selling you something. Like Nike.
Yeah.
I mean, running wasn't a sport. Like we know, the Greeks did marathons and stuff, but running wasn't a sport until I think gentlemen were known for not run. If you're a gentleman, you don't run. And then I think, do you guys know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the first bodybuilder, which basically started a whole new trend of bodybuilding.
Like competitive.
Yeah.
Competitive bodybuilding.
Yeah, which means even for that, it just recently started.
Really?
Running is one of them, where Nike, the moment they started selling us shoes, then it became a sport. So now we do it because, like we have the Pelotons, where they sell you the, stationary bike, and then there's the whole culture around it. Nike, you have the, the clothing, the pants, the shorts, the bras.
The bras.
But I mean, even the Greeks were running naked.
Yeah, they did all their
Just
sports
a form
naked.
of-
I guess it's more aero.
It wasn't like a competitive thing. It was more of like a, general health thing, I guess. Like yoga is a good example. There's competitive yoga. Isn't yoga designed to just relax and like get in touch with
How is that competitive?
whatever inner peace?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
even
with
Just
the
like hold a
Indians.
pose better.
yeah, like with Bikram yoga, they have competitions where they judge you on your pose and how long you could do it, your fatigue level, how peaceful you look. Like it gets weird, right? And then there's Lululemon, and you got to buy the wardrobe.
Right.
So it's like yoga was designed by like mystical meditation guys in the mountains of India.
Yeah, and I mean for
they
them,
weren't competing with nobody.
for them, yeah, it was more like religious, like attaining what do you call it, the peace, enlightenment. So, I mean, it had. I find a lot of old cultures tend to have practices that are not like specific to something. Like it has multiple factors. Like it's religious, it has health, it has community, it has like entertainment. I mean, some of the wrestlers would do yoga, which was their training.
Yeah.
And then you have the religious people who do it for religious purposes. But then here we do it because we want to sell you something.
And it's not everywhere, right?
But I mean, it has its
when it
benefits
gets
though.
weird.
Like
Yeah.
this morning I
Yeah.
woke up, I did my 30 minutes yoga, and I felt amazing.
100%.
But
But you're not competing. You're not getting an award for doing that. It just helps you throughout your day, right? So,
right. Like I mean, when I was watching the yoga poses, there are these blocks that I'm supposed to buy, but I don't have some.
Yeah.
Like
You
these
use books.
blocks that allow you to because I figured with yoga all you need is a mat and bare feet.
a
You have to have the official blocks.
You have to.
Otherwise, it's not true yoga.
So I mean,
Okay.
like in most cults, like you have, you come in and you pay membership fee, and then you're stuck with them forever. Now we have the subscriptions
Yeah.
where you sign up for something and then you're stuck with them forever.
So with
like Scientology.
yeah, it's one article. It's from Oprah. Warning signs.
Oh boy.
A dangerous cult can sneak up on you. The title is The Warning Signs of a Dangerous Cult Can Sneak Up on You. So basically, like, how do you know when you are in a cult? There are pretty much like 4 different buckets. This is a pretty long article, but in the article they indicate behavior control as one of them, essentially controlling your behavior. Information control, controlling the type of information you get, and kind of if it's competing information, they would distort it, or say that it's wrong or fake news or something like that. Thought control, so they require members to internalize the group's doctrine. Could be anything in terms of like chanting things, having phrases, acronyms. Think of all those company HR-led meetings that you have to do. That's kind of like culty. And then emotional control, just kind of like saying, like, either kind of framing how you look at something, or just kind of like controlling how you view something, even though it's like negative and bad and you feel bad about it. Or the way they frame it is that, well, no, it's actually a good thing because, or the reason why you feel sad is because you're letting go of your, I don't know, spirit or something like that, or whatever weird stuff they believe in. Yeah.
I mean, even work, like with work, they frame it as, oh, we're family oriented environment.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
We're all family here.
Here's some mental health app. You get 3 months free, so we could do more work for it.
Right.
I think with a lot of this work from home stuff, I think that all that culty work stuff is going to fade away, because participation numbers are just going to plummet, because people will be like, well, I could just sit there with my camera off and you can't do anything about it.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think, like, with the information control thing, which work was phrased to most of us as the thing to do. Like, it's like you woke up in the morning, you sat in your car, you drove to a place, you did something, and then you came home at night to sleep. But now it's like we're working from home. So then you guys lied to us that, we can't work from home. And now we're working from home.
Yep. I worked for one company who
I suppose.
they were like completely opposed, because we would like be looking at hiring like freelancers or whatnot, right? And they're like, well, they're not going to be in the office all the time. It's like, well, yeah, that's the point of a freelancer. Like, they just work from home, they just do their thing, and then they just kind of provide whatever it is you need them for. Nope, they have to be in the office. They have to be in the office. Nothing gets done if people are working from home, and like completely opposed to it. And so many companies that are just like trying to go back to the office, and people are just not having it. Like, if you look on LinkedIn, a lot of jobs I see on LinkedIn, not that I'm looking for one, if my employer's listening to this, but a lot of the jobs you see on LinkedIn is, it would say like hybrid or remote only, or work from home opportunity. And it's because they realize that people have proven over the course of the pandemic that, yeah, this can happen, and so things have to change, right? So
yeah, it's a different world. And like, I know different countries are experimenting with different work environments, work styles. So
yeah,
I think in the Netherlands they're doing 4-day work weeks. Might have been Norway, one of the Scandinavian countries, or like longer work hours throughout the 4 days, and then the 5th day you get off.
I would do that
along with the weekend, obviously. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And then even before, they had the remote work from home company cultures in a lot of European countries. Like, a lot of this is not new to certain places in the world, but because the pandemic accelerated it, now it's obviously mainstream. But we'll see where it goes, right? Like, the participation of things you don't care about, like you said, Alex, the camera's off. Who cares? I'll hand in my work. I don't have to show up to your whatever cult meeting.
Yep.
What are you gonna do, right?
I think it just makes it so that like for a company or any kind of organization that you're a part of, whether it's your job or not, they just have to realize that you have to engage with people and deliver them things that they actually want to have in their life, right? And I mean, there are certain policies and things that a company will mandate that you have to do, like anti-corruption courses and, what is a bribe?
That's normal.
Like doing that kind of stuff, right? You got to appease the lawyers. But I think for a lot of other stuff, you're going to see that it's more voluntary, right? And how you deliver that to people is going to be very different.
And it'll be harder to sell the culture, but the culture will just be, we're a remote working culture. You have the freedom to do what you want, right? And that becomes valued, right? I think if companies can sell that, you'll attract more talent. You'll attract more people who still get the job done, and they value working from home because, they have 3 kids and they need some attention there, whatever the case may be. So I think that's where things are changing, as opposed to, look at all the snacks on the 5th floor.
Yeah, look at all the snacks in my fridge.
Right.
Exactly. Look at how short my commute is.
Yeah.
Across my apartment.
I think it also explains, in societies, what do we value, and to me, it looks like even our names like Smith, which is like work name.
Yes. Yep. Blacksmith.
Yeah. So it's like, what do we value? And it's most of us define ourselves based on the thing that we do, but the thing that we do is not who we are. And so,
exactly,
because then if your who you are is work, then your whole life is work, which I think with the pandemic and working from home, now we're changing who we are. We're discovering that we like to do other things and not just work.
I think that's scary for many people.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that way, like the information control thing that you talked about, where the information that we're being given as what is life about, they restrict it from us, and then they sell us something that is like, you have to be hardworking, you have to, do 10 times more than your next, co-worker.
Oh yeah, all the hustle culture. Yeah,
that's
when 5 o'clock hits, that's when your real job starts.
Right.
Your side hustle is your real
pioneer mentality.
Oh yeah.
You have to be making 6 figures. If you're making, you're
a lot of cultures value that too, where they ingrain that, generation to generation, where the harder you work, the more respect you get, and I would argue that's not necessarily true from a practical perspective.
Yeah,
you have to have an identity also, but it's coming from a place of privilege for us, right?
Well,
we don't live in 1855 where we have to grow the bread.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think when it comes to hard work, one thing that someone told me was usually the person who ends up staying late at the office is always looked at as being the hard worker, but normally it's because they're usually the most inefficient worker. Because they're not productive. They can't do their job within the 8 hours, right? So they have to stay later to get it done. The people who leave on time, that doesn't mean that they're not hard workers. It's just that they're just efficient enough to do their job within that period of time, right? So I think it's you don't have to look at how many hours does it take you to do a job. You have to look at what's the output of that job, right? Because if somebody spends 10 hours a day versus 8 hours a day, whatever, what's the output, right? And if you could do it in 2, then do it in 2. If you could do it in 1, do it in 1. One boss I had, he said it takes as long as it takes. That's what his attitude was. Is if it takes 5 hours, it takes 5 hours. It takes 4 hours, it takes 4 hours. It takes as long as it takes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're basically describing work smart, not hard.
Exactly.
Right. Didn't Bill Gates say that he likes lazy people because they do the same job faster or something like that? I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it's a famous one. He just likes people who are smarter, efficient in their job.
Yeah, lazy people really get a bad rep, but we owe our innovation and all these things to lazy people, because lazy people don't want to do the work, and so then they invent products
true.
that allow us to do the work faster.
That's true.
Yep,
Like
100%.
every product, it's like frozen pizza that was invented by a lazy person. Yeah. Delivery takes too long and don't want to make your own pizza. There you go. It's done.
Yeah, that's interesting. Or at least the inventor understands how much lazy people would appreciate
Right.
the project.
Yeah, they're willing to pay for it. Yeah.
Yep. That's interesting. So yeah, cults.
Yeah.
So I guess you do final thoughts.
I mean, I think with cults, you always have to know that anytime someone comes to you and starts selling you things that it's like, this is going to change your life, this is going to make you 5 times younger, you're going to, be more effective, you just have to, take it with a grain of, salt. I mean,
Yeah.
for me personally, I enjoy my running, my yogas, the things that make me feel like, so I'll spend money on it and not think of it as I'm doing it to show someone that, oh, I closed my rings today, or like I did 10 miles today. I'm doing it more for me, so I don't need to show it to someone. And it's also a better experience for me. So I think that approach actually allows me to, navigate towards like not doing something that someone is like, oh, I was gonna buy these things and it would make you 10 times whatever. If it doesn't fit in my model, no.
Okay, let me tackle it from a different perspective. So careful how obsessed you become with something when it makes you feel good, if that makes sense, right? Like with different psychologists who look at flow phenomenon, when we're at peak performance, peak feelings of happiness, whatever the case may be, we have to be careful not to go shopping, not to overindulge in something. Take it for what it is. See it as something maybe you accomplished or something that does feel good. But the second it becomes obsessive, maybe ask some questions, use some critical thinking, see how people are talking and how they're acting around that particular thing that feels good and makes you feel good. So critical thinking, that's my final thought.
That's good.
So for mine is more along the lines of like no one person and no one group, for that matter, can solve all your problems and make you feel whole, make you feel complete, or improve your lifestyle. Ultimately, it's only you that can do that, and your resources are going to come from a variety of different places. It's never going to come from one place. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. There's no magic pill to life. There never will be. And the only one who can really do anything about your life is you. You have the resources at your fingertips, literally. It's your phone. And you can look up, if you're trying to do anything, the answers are on there. And there's probably a million of them. And they're all going to say very similar things on how to do stuff. And it really just comes down to just starting it. And even if it's a small step forward, it's a small step forward. There's this one runner who he was a larger man and very heavy, and he couldn't run to save his life. He would walk up the stairs and it would take him like 10 minutes because he was so out of breath. And so in terms of like that journey being like a long journey, his first goal was to run to the end of his driveway, and that was an ordeal in and of itself. But he did it, and then he ran one house over, so just from one house to the next house, and that was an ordeal. And then he ran 2 houses and 3 houses and eventually a marathon.
Wow.
Every journey is one step in front of the other. Doesn't matter how hard it is, doesn't matter where it's going, or doesn't matter how long it is. Just one foot in front of the other.
It's all relative. Everyone's got their marathon.
Yep, exactly.
And everyone is fighting a hard fight.
Oh yeah.
Good one, boys. And remember, kids, we don't know what we don't know. But once we know that we don't know, then we can start to know. Little tongue twister there. Yeah, follow us on the social medias.
Join our cult.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Join our cult. We're on all the tech cults. So,
All the tech cults. There's no membership fee, and we don't tell you to do anything. You just
Yeah.
just drink some liquid.
yeah, drink water.
Be shipped at an undisclosed location.